40 million people have died so far. All across the world, people are expiring by the dozens on a daily basis. This murder does not discriminate against age, sex, race, or social status. This killer has no heart and no mercy. Today, I'm going to talk about the creation of the HIV/AIDS virus. I'm going to talk about the theories regarding where the HIV/AIDS virus came from, about government documents requesting government funding in order to research how to create a disease that attacks the human immune system. I'm also going to talk about the positive correlation between locations where there have been AIDS outbreaks and its relationship with the World Health Organization and the U.S. government. Medical professionals, teachers, and the media never can agree about where AIDS originated from. In school, a lot of us learned from our teachers that it was first found in a small country in the middle of Africa, detected in a man who was a native and had been bitten by a green monkey. Another theory is that a local tribe in Africa had hunted green monkeys and had killed and eaten a family of infected ones. A third theory is that the U.S. government manufactured AIDS in order to use it as a biological weapon of warfare in order to rid the world of the useless third world population. In the 1970s, Dr. Henry Kissinger was the National Security Advisor, and he wrote the National Security Memorandum, the NSSM-200. The NSSM-200 basically said that the world was overpopulated, that we, as America, had to do something about it because it was a matter of national security. It also stated that the U.S. economy will require an abundance of natural resources, which mostly come from third world countries. This attitude allowed the same set of ideals to exist in other branches of government. The U.S. Department of Defense requested a $10 million amount of government funding in order to research how to create a disease that would attack the human immune system. They predicted that within the next 5 to 10 years, they would have it created, and that our immune system and our therapeutic methods, which we as a society rely on to exist, would not be able to combat it. They were granted that amount of money, and within 10 years, the first AIDS case had been discovered. During 1972, the World Health Organization made an application available that is quoted as saying, an attempt should be made to see whether or not it is possible to make a virus that would affect the T cell function as opposed to the B cell function. And the possibility should also be looked at that the immune response would be non-existent. And in short, this is a medical description of the HIV/AIDS virus. AIDS has been spread by the U.S. government through medical research and immunizations. While the idea of HIV/AIDS being manufactured by our government seems unfathomable, it has not been beyond us in our past. You remember Honest Abe? Well, Abraham Lincoln first wiped out the buffalo race so that the Native Americans could not support themselves food-wise anymore. He then forced them to move onto reservations, and he ordered that blankets covered with smallpox and typhus be sent there in order to wipe out their existence. In Alabama, male African Americans were purposely infected with the syphilis virus with no cure, no concern, nothing. We just let them go with this virus because we wanted to see how it would progress. We did it for research purposes. We also see that occurrences of AIDS infections has a positive correlation with times that the World Health Organization has given smallpox vaccines in certain locations in the middle of the 1970s. It was possible, though, that the World Health Organization staff was not aware that these immunizations were infected with the AIDS virus. It is believed that the hepatitis B immunization study in 1978 seems to be beginning of the spread of the HIV/AIDS virus. In New York City, the study suggested that non-monogamous men could only participate, and that they had to be, and that the homosexual men and the straight men would be given 2 different vaccines. Between 25 to 50% of the first documented HIV victims in New York City had been part of this hepatitis B study. By 1981, that number shot up to 64%. Unfortunately, the U.S. Department of Justice holds this information, saying it's being occupied. These claims can carry a lot of pressure and can sometimes seem unfathomable, but we must recognize that biological weapons of warfare have not been below us in our past, and our government is perfectly capable of it. Today I've talked about the theories of where AIDS grew its roots. I've discussed documents such as the NSSM-200, which required financing in order to research and create a disease that would ruin the human immune system. I've discussed times when the American government has admitted to using biological weapons of warfare. I've also conversed about the positive correlation between the World Health Organization and the U.S. government's relationship with AIDS outbreaks. While I'm aware this hasn't been proven in my speech, I do believe that the government has played a creation in the spread of AIDS. While I know people aren't going to be convinced or swayed by what I've said, I do hope that it will open everyone's mind to the opportunity of it. All too often we're told something and we choose not to question it. This is my attempt at inspiring others to do their own research on this subject. Make your own assumptions. Don't allow others to sway your opinions.